Scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with another Wreck-It Wednesday process video, and I'm picking up right where I left off in the last video, and I'm working on the 9x12 companion page to the pocket page on the left-hand side there, and this is actually a real-time process video. That's why my hands are moving so slow. This layout only took me about 17 minutes, so I thought it would be perfect for a real-time process video. So I have this paper that has that Great Smoky Mountains National Park on the bottom, and then I have two, they're not 4x6, they're like, I don't know, if they're next to each other like that, they're probably like 5 inches wide. Two 5-inch wide horizontal photos, which between that and the Smoky Mountains National Park sign down at the bottom that I want to keep, it's very limiting for this process video, this whole page, and that's probably why it only took me 17 minutes to do this layout. And obviously you can see I'm like shuffling through things on the side here, trying to find something to mat these photos with, because I don't want them just sitting right on top of the paper. I have this postcard 4x6 card that I had cut for the previous video, and I'm going to incorporate it into the layering process here. I'm just kind of adding tape to all of my photos and trying to fit them together right. So I've got like the view of the Smoky Mountains behind the, behind us in the photo there. So I kind of want, like, I don't need there to be an obvious mountain range line in the back on the paper there. So I'm okay with covering up that top half of that paper, but I want to make sure that I keep the sign front and center, or I guess front and bottom center on the paper. So I'm just going to make sure that I get everything in here. I want them all to be slanted, kind of like you threw a postcard and some photos down on a paper. And that's just kind of how they landed. I'm going to move this postcard down a little bit. It's a little too high. I'm going to stick these down so that I know where they have to go, because obviously they're riding the edges there. Then I'm going to stick the postcard underneath them. There we go. It's a little bit better. You can see in a real-time process video, the decisions are a little bit more agonizing than they seem in a sped-up version. So I'm pulling in the Heidi Swap Wolfpack stickers I have here, looking for a journaling spot I want to add, and then trying to figure out where I want it to be and don't want it over that photo. So I'm going to add it down to the bottom corner of the other photo instead. I auditioned a couple of different labels, but I decided I really wanted to use this circle for sure. So it's going to go down in the bottom. Oh yes, the wax paper that I pull out so I can move it around easily. It's a good tip. If you don't already use it, you can put your stickers on wax paper and move them around so that you can see where they're going to end up before you stick it down, which is something I should do more often because I'm constantly putting things down and sticking them back up, or putting them down and pulling them back up. Kind of looking through the stickers, seeing if there's anything that I could actually use on these sticker sheets. Get to use that on top of the world. I'm so excited. I've been trying to use it for ages. Thought maybe I'd put it on top of that journaling box, but no. And so you can't really see it on top of my photos, but you can finally see it right here on this yellow. And sorry about the train. They always want to come through when I am voice recording, but it'll be gone in just a second. I was so excited. You got the finger jazz hands. I was so excited that I got to use that on top of the world that I've been trying to incorporate into so many layouts for so long. And down goes that journaling block. Yay. So this is like the basis for the rest of my layout. You can see it came together really quick thanks to that sign down at the bottom. So now I'm just kind of gonna embellish it a little bit. Going through the embellishments that I pulled out in my first video when I didn't have enough embellishments in just the couple packs that I had grouped together in my Wreck It Wednesday kit. I kept them, all the embellishments that I pulled in, I kept them to the side there. I did work on all of these layouts at once, so they all just stayed to the side right there, and I pulled from them for all of my layouts. So obviously I've got some really outdoorsy, deep-toned papers and things pulled for this Wreck It Wednesday collection and this layout in particular, but I am pulling from the crepe paper summer collection from this year. I find that if you try and look beyond the theme a bit and look at pieces individually rather than as a whole collection, you can use a lot of things in your spreads that you wouldn't have expected. So you wouldn't expect this summery, beachy, very pink sort of collection to fit with the papers that I pulled, but I end up using a lot of these crepe paper stickers in the layouts that I create for this Wreck It Wednesday series. So always thinking outside the box, always trying to use my products in unexpected ways and in ways that make them stretch. If I were to just consider this like a beachy, girly collection, then I wouldn't be using them on these pages, but I don't. I see it as, you know, this little cute hearts, and those can go on anything. So obviously I'm putting them on everything. Wanted 3 hearts because I always want 3 of everything. So I'm going to put that one right there. Doing good. And then of course I attempt to put this away and realize that, you know, I can do that later, especially since I'm just going to take it out again for another page down the line. And as I'm shuffling it around, I'm like, I want to use that green camera because the green in the camera really matches the green in the trees at the bottom, which I was finding unexpected, but I was super stoked by that. So now I'm looking to see if there's any more green that I can incorporate into this layout from the sticker sheet. Nope. Well, let's check the other side first. Yay, green! So here's a little journaling. It's not a journaling book because it already has writing on it, but it's green and it works with the theme. So I'm going to end up putting it right where the photos meet down there at the bottom. And then I'm going to pull it right back up and adjust it again because that's how I roll. And I didn't like it all slanted like that. And of course it's already super stuck because these stickers are super sticky when they hit photo paper. But I get it up enough to reposition it just fine. And I like it better less slanted, so that worked well. And for another attempt to get these back in the plastic, just put them away. Nope, we're not going to put them in the plastic. All right, moving on. So I have letter stickers and titles that I decide I don't want to use. I've got enough words going on here. I'm going to start pulling in some of these Heidi Swap stickers. So now it says Great Smoky Mountains National Park Adventure. And it sort of breaks up the, you know, the singular icon look of that bottom part of the paper. If I add to it, so now it, you know, it becomes more dynamic and involved in the page rather than my page sitting on top of it. I really need something to mat these photos with. They need something because everything feels like it's just sort of floating. So I'm going to grab this stripy paper and I'm going to create a couple of notched banners for underneath my cluster here. just something to root it and ground it just a little bit more on the page, because I really just felt like everything was floating and it was bugging me. I lost this heart when I put it in the 3x4 pockets, and I was like, where the heck did this heart go? So I found it, so I'm putting it back. It was stuck to the bottom of my paper trimmer. Womp womp. Interlude. There we go. Okay. So I need more stickers, more paper. Looking around. Still trying to incorporate that wolf. Never gonna happen. But I do have all these really pretty shiny silver stars. So we're going to add them to the adventure, so the adventure doesn't look like it's just floating on that page either. It's a little bit more grounded. So now what am I going to do with these papers? What I end up doing is cutting them in half and notching them into banners. And just layering them horizontally right underneath and on top of the photos. You need to stick it right or pretty far underneath there so that it doesn't cover up this Great Smoky Mountain sign, so I'm going to trim it down a little bit more. Decided to trim it in half so that I could have two equal-ish sort of banners at the top and the bottom pretty easily. Doesn't have to be perfectly equal because they are going to be up underneath the photo cluster, so doesn't have to be perfect, just close. Especially since you're notching banners, so you are going to delineate the halfway mark. I think I cut them into banners, pretty sure. Might have done that on a different page. It's stuck. Still trying to get this sticker up. Oh, I decided I wanted the banner underneath just the one photo, so I had to like pull the sticker up from the second photo, but then I just couldn't get it up enough without damaging it, so I changed my mind. Yay, notching into banners. I knew I did that. So because I notched it into a banner, you are like delineating the halfway mark of the paper. So that's why I wanted them to be mostly the same width. If it was just a paper strip, it wouldn't matter because who knows how far up the paper strip goes, but it did matter since I was turning it into a banner. And here I go pulling up that sticker again. I just couldn't live with it not underneath the one photo. It just looks so much better that way. So I lived with the little bit of damage that it caused the sticker. We had to re-stick it down and it got a little bit folded and wonky, but that's okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing at the top. Add in the paper banner. Where'd it go? Add it in at the top there for some balance. It's going to go right underneath that postcard. And I like the contrast of the pattern as well. Obviously, with that paper that I chose for the background, you have like one big art piece rather than any sort of patterns. And you know how much I love patterns and how much I incorporate patterns into everything I do. So I liked being able to add some actual pattern to this layout as well, and not just that one signature paper at the bottom. I really feel like it adds just a little pop of design for the spread for the layout rather than just having it floating on top there. I'm going to push these down a little bit more. I was struggling a little because I wanted you to see both tails of the banner, but I just couldn't make it work so that you could see both tails and it didn't look like it was up too high, so I just sacrificed the bottom tail instead. So I felt like I needed something like framing this journal spot, so I added these trees. Then I felt like, well, if I have trees here, I need trees somewhere else too. So I put it over here. So it's kind of framing the whole thing. I wanted to make sure I didn't cover up any of the words, but I wanted it as far over as I could get it. We're getting close to done here. This layout came together really quick. Decided to add in these footprints just for fun. I was going to add the bear and the footprints, but he just looked like he was hanging out there and looked weird. So he goes back, and just the footprints go on instead. And as much as like they don't especially make sense to the theme, they do. I mean, we're in the mountains and there's black bears in the Smoky Mountains and all of that. What they really do is they create a nice little frame in the corners there and really give somewhere for your eye to travel. And that was kind of the point, I think, of adding them more than anything else. I'm going to add in my journaling and call it good, I think. Yeah. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. And if you've missed the previous two Wreck It Wednesday videos, they are in this playlist. And the very first one shows off the kit that I chose and kind of explains my thought process behind Wreck It Wednesday. So yeah, you might want to watch it. All right. Thank you.